Everybody. I hope everybody's doing well and staying healthy out there. So, in these unprecedented times that we're living in, we're all kind of in the same boat. So with that being said, we're not actively investigating anywhere right now, just as pretty much everybody's not actively doing much of anything, hopefully, other than staying in their house and hopefully staying healthy. However, at the same time, we want to continue to give you things to watch, some things to help you kill some time, some things that hopefully you'll enjoy. So today, I thought we'd take a look at a story that we've never actually told before, a video I've thought about making for some time, and that is the story of the first ever paranormal adventure that Emily and I went on. The first time we ever actually went into a place, a haunted place, to try and see whether or not this was something that we could do, wanted to do, or even like to do. So today, I want to tell you the story of our first ever paranormal adventure, which took place at Rolling Hills Asylum in upstate New York. So, like I'm sure many of you do, I watch the shows. I mean, I've watched the shows for years. It's how I first got interested in the field in the first place. I often get asked what my favorite paranormal television show is. It changed over the years. The first one that really got me interested in the field of paranormal investigation was the original Ghost Hunters. Probably true for most people my age who are interested in the field. Currently, though, my favorite show is Ghost Adventures. I like those guys. I really enjoy that show. I watch a lot of paranormal television. Ghost Nation's pretty good too, but Ghost Adventures is by far my favorite one. And anybody who's a fan of that show, in case you're wondering, Billy Tolley is my favorite out of the group. That's a question I get asked sometimes. But I've been watching the shows forever, and you always ask yourself, right? You've probably done the same thing. Man, those guys, they're nuts. They're awesome, but what would I do? What would I do? And this whole thing started as an anniversary present from my wife Emily to me. Several years ago, I opened up my anniversary card, and in there were two tickets for an overnight ghost hunt at Rolling Hills Asylum. And I was shocked. I really was. And I asked her, I said, I said, that's awesome. Like, what made you think of that? And she said, in all the shows we've been watching, I always said, man, I always wonder, would I run to it or would I run away from it? And she said, you know what, let's find out. Let's find out if we run toward it or away from it. And that was what that was all about. And we always joke about it because people say, the first anniversary was the paper, there's all these silver anniversary, golden anniversary. We always make the joke that the 13th anniversary must be the potentially demonic spirits of the criminally insane anniversary because it was such an unusual gift and such a great gift, and to this day, the best gift that she's ever given me. But that is where this began, and that we went up to the Rochester area, drove up the Rolling Hills, and got ready for a night that we knew we'd enjoy, but we had no idea at the time would change our lives forever. So when we got up there, the first thing that really hit us was how woefully unprepared we were from an equipment standpoint. She had told me about this approximately 2 days before we were to go up, so there wasn't any time for me to get any of the equipment that I thought we might want to try. So what we ended up with were two digital recorders that came with the present, a thermometer, a temperature thing that you aim and it gives you the temperature, and an EMF detector, and that was it. That was all we had. And Emily had her regular Canon nice camera, but it's a regular camera. So any of the pictures that I'm going to show you, these were taken on a regular camera, but this was all we had. So I'm sitting there in the in like the lobby waiting area. We're sitting there at Rolling Hills with like 30 other people, and I'm thinking, oh my God, everybody's got so much stuff. And it turned out that really wasn't the case. There were people there who ended up being more woefully unprepared than even we were. I remember the two the two women who sat across. I think they were a mother and a daughter. They didn't even bring flashlights. I think they thought it was like a fun house. I think they thought like it was going to be like a jump scare thing, like a Halloween haunted house kind of attraction. They were shocked that it wasn't that. I think they left like a half hour into it because I not understanding exactly what was going on with that. But so woefully unprepared. I remember I had a backpack. I had everything in a backpack, and I kept leaving the backpack in the rooms because I forgot that I brought it in. And fumbling around with the recorders, fumbling around with the equipment, not knowing how. That first hour would have been just a great blooper reel to have, because we were so novice and just so not sure what to do. And it was dark. You know, when you watch the shows and you watch even our videos, it's pitch black. And we've gotten pretty good now at not fumbling around, but we still do. It's dark. It's hard to see in the dark, even though there's a little bit of ambient light around. But that first hour was was very, very funny. That we were just so new and so novice. And you know, it's interesting. One of the things I remember, though, is I remember there was a paranormal group there. There were about 30 people there that night, and there was this paranormal group there. And I just remember that we were all in their way. Like there were 5 or 6 of them, and they just could not be bothered to say hello to anybody, to talk to anybody. They sort of clustered in a corner. When they went into an area, they would close the doors to keep the rest of us out, even though it was a public ghost hunt thing. I remember that, and I remember saying to Emily, not knowing what would eventually happen, that if we ever had a group, a paranormal group, we would try to not be like that, to be more inclusive and be more friendly and share the field, which I like to think we've done. But those are my takeaways. But we were so unprepared for everything that happened, and everybody watching this, you would have loved to have seen that first hour, because it was very funny, and just how unprepared we were was something else. So as I said, we were totally unprepared, but we did it. We went out into the thing, and you know, they gave a tour at the beginning, which a lot of the historical locations do, and it's really helpful. And then the lights go out, and you walk around, and you're left to your own devices, and it's a lot of people. A lot of times, people bumping into each other, and you know, we didn't realize just how sensitive these recorders were at the time, so audio was tough to do. And we kept kind of just sort of tripping all over each other. In a lot of our pictures, you can see the other people that were around it in the groups. There was a group of of sorority girls there, and you can hear them in almost every audio clip that we had, because they just walked around basically laughing. Emily got annoyed because they started following me around a little bit, because I guess I looked like I knew what I was doing. Like there was an EMF spike in an old hair drying machine, like the old salon with the dome. I mean, I don't know about that, but with the stuff that, you know what I'm talking about, that dries the hair. And there was an EMF spike as if it were plugged in, and I dove onto the ground to check that it was plugged in, and I got the thing, I'm on my back, I'm asking questions, I'm doing EVPs. They apparently thought I knew what I was doing, and they followed me around for like a half an hour. Which was both funny and a little annoying, because they were loud and we didn't. But you know, even though there were so many people around, we eventually did kind of find ourselves alone, because a lot of people wanted to focus on the morgue and the psych ward and the darker parts of Rolling Hills. And if you've ever seen any of the shows about them, there are some dark parts about Rolling Hills. We liked the residential areas, and we kept there, and we ended up having it mostly to ourselves by the end of the evening. And we had a lot of amazing experiences. The smell of pipe smoke kept following us around, which the owner of Rolling Hills, who, by the way, phenomenal. If you ever go there, she is wonderful. I highly recommend it. It's a heck of an experience, and she's so welcoming to everyone. So highly recommend it. But she didn't even experience the pipe smoke before. You know, so that was different. And but we had a lot of it to ourselves, and it happened. My moment happened. I'm sitting in a wheelchair in the hallway by myself. Emily's in a room off to the side, and it's pitch black. And in my ear, I hear like a grunt, and I jumped up, and I ran right after it. And it was that moment that I knew that I would be someone who ran toward it and not away from it. And that was a life-changing moment for me. But the wheelchair voice, they also had this really long hallway there that's pitch black, and all you can see is some lights through the 2 windows all the way at the end, all the way like 100 yards down. And I said to myself, Dan, you are going to walk in pitch black darkness all the way to the end of that hallway. If you can do that, you know you can do this. And I absolutely did it. And it was great. It was great. And it changed our lives. And it's where this whole thing really began. So as I said, woefully unprepared, ill-equipped. You know, the 2 recorders, the EMF, the GoPro camera we had was a regular GoPro. Didn't even pick up anything in full spectrum. We didn't even have a light to show anything. But after all that was done, we had evidence to go through for the first time. We looked at some video. We had 2 recorders worth of audio and about 1,000 pictures, granted on a regular camera, but we had all this stuff to go through. And I remember sitting at this same computer I'm recording this on and saying, "Oh my goodness, this is awesome. This is fun." And the cool part is we actually caught some stuff. We caught a great EVP of in a room where I'm talking about the view, and I asked about the view, and we caught an EVP saying, "Look at you." And that was great. And then we caught a second EVP. I walked into a room and there was like some drawings on a chalkboard or something, and I said, "Oh, did you draw that?" And very, very quickly after I got done speaking, you could just hear as clear as day, "No."
Did you write that? Did you write that?
And the final thing that we caught was a picture. Believe it or not, even with not a full spectrum picture, Emily snapped 4 pictures right at the end. And in the first picture, there's nothing in this door. This doorway's about 50 feet down the hall. There's nothing in the first picture. And then the second picture looks like something's kind of getting in the doorway a little bit. The third picture, it's definitely something obtrude. And then the fourth picture, you can really make it out. And what's interesting is if you look at a close-up of it, it very much looks like a man smoking a pipe. Which is pretty compelling, considering that we kept smelling pipe smoke the whole night as we were there. So not only did we get our first experience, not only did we now know that we would run toward it and had no problems in a pitch black haunted asylum by yourself in the middle of the night, but we caught evidence too. And that's where the addiction really began, and that's where Orange County Paranormal began. All of that, the passion that was built for this field and doing this that night is what it was seeded that day has just carried us through and continues to carry us through on all the adventures that we have. So that's the story. So as I said in the beginning, while we're not really investigating anywhere right now, we thought it'd be, interesting for some of you to maybe hear where this started from. We've met so many amazing people. We have so many followers now on social media, and thank you so much for that. But we've never actually told this story outside of a couple of events that we've done, and thought we'd share it now. So, let us know in the comments below where you started your paranormal adventure, where the first place you ever went to for a ghost hunt event or a paranormal investigation was, and what your first experiences were, because it's what starts this whole thing. It just takes that one experience to change your life, and it did for us, and I hope it has for all of you. So until next time, again, I hope everybody's staying well, staying healthy, staying indoors, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day. As always, thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more of our videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow our day-to-day adventures by liking our Facebook page. For any more information about us, or to contact us directly, please visit our website, www.orangecountynyparanormal.com.